For our song section today, I want to talk about that classic song, Could You Be Messiah, composed by Gary Valenciano and written by Freddie Santos, direct Freddie, Tito Freddie. And I have a link here of a TikTok of a good friend of mine, Enzo, who talks about the history of this song. And I think after this, you might want to look at, or even now, you might want to look at that video that he did about the background. And it's just fascinating to me how the song is so meaningful. It was composed in 1988, and it's still so meaningful until today. And it was almost not written. And so go check out Enzo's TikTok to see Gary V's story about it. It was written by Freddie Santos. Many people call him Direct Freddie or Tito Freddie, who's an icon in the performing arts world in our country. Really set up a lot of young artists and talents and was good at spotting talent with people. I called him Tito Freddie growing up because he's my dad's friend, and they were friends before both of them were followers of Jesus. So they both know each other's lives. So they never told us the details, but I could tell there was a lot of mutual respect there with one another. And you know, my dad would just say, yeah, Freddie really wrote that song, and that's really his encounter with God. Of course, I heard the song when I was a kid, when it came out in 1988, but it didn't have as much meaning for me until 20 years ago. 2004, I was traveling alone in the US. It was the year I was about to go into vocational campus ministry. The organization I was with was told me I had to raise funds for this. So I was going around doing that. It was a very lonely time, very trying time, very faith-stretching time. And one of my places of getting comfort was listening to OPM, original Filipino music. And I guess because I was in the US, I was traveling through the Midwest and up and down and just seeing endless cornfields and speaking in English all the time, to the point that I would get tired of it. Like, kahit pala ako napapagod sa pag-i-English. And I would sometimes respond in Tagalog to servers or people in fast food restaurants. And so I would be listening to OPM a lot, and especially Christian OPM as part of my worship time. And this song, Could You Be Messiah, was such a place of comfort for me. It was on repeat, really. I'd be in these long drives and I would listen to Could You Be Messiah 15, 20 times in the same drive. And I think art and culture have that way of communicating our deepest thoughts. That's what successful art is. When someone can see it, hear it, experience it, and say, mismo, yan, gets ko yan. It strikes a chord with me. It resonates with me. That's kind of why I'm, putting out these vlogs, because I'm encouraged to find that, okay, I can talk to people who are asking the same questions or dealing with the same issues. And that's when something is really classic, because it lasts, like this song, 1988. So how old is that? 36 years ago. And it's still good. It's still telling stories. In fact, recently, there's a cover. If you go on YouTube, you can find it by a Filipina artist named Morissette, singing her own cover of Could You Be Messiah with a new arrangement by Gary V. So, beautiful song. Let's get into the lyrics. Starts with, could you be healer to a heart that's been wounded in a battle that's never seen? But binabasa ko pa, alam ko naman, diba? Could you be teacher to a mind of confusion? Tell me, what does this all mean? Are you deliverer of an imprisoned feeling in chains? Could you set my spirit free? And just one more question. Allow me this question. Could you be Messiah to me? Could you be Messiah to me? See, he asks, could you be healer? Could you be teacher? Are you deliverer? And then, could you be Messiah? I don't know why, but ever since, I've always liked songs that talk about the different ways that God is to us, the different roles that Jesus plays in our life. So like this one, right? Healer, deliverer, teacher, Messiah. Another similar song like that for me is Forever Rain by Hillsong Worship, where it goes, you are good when there's nothing good in me. You are love on display for all to see. And those kinds of songs just make me grateful for Jesus, and just whatever need, whatever life situation, He's there. He's the answer. And many people I know who struggle with their faith, we forget that He's also healer. He's also teacher. He's also deliverer. We think only one way. We know Him only as this. He's judge, or He's, we know Him in the high points of our spirituality. But what about the low points? He's there too. The Bible is full of that. That's why He has so many names. So many names, right? And sometimes the tension of those names is captured in the text. He's the lion of the tribe of Judah, but he's also the Lamb of God. The lion and the lamb, same person. The roaring, triumphant, overcoming, terrifying lion is also the gentle, suffering, sin-removing lamb. And it's in those tensions of like, how can you be both, that we really get to know him? That's why I love this song. Whatever situation I'm in, may something eh. Pwede kong pakinggan to kantang to because it's got everything. Could you be father to a soul that's been abandoned by a world too busy to hear? Could you be friend to a helpless survivor? Can you take away my fears? I heard them all sharing this newfound conviction in them. Are you all that they make you to be? And just one more question. Allow me this question. Could you be Messiah to me? In fact, another way I've listened to this song, it's been a prayer for me for other people. Because, and I know you know this feeling because many people feel this feeling, where you see something distressing, you see a friend going through a difficult time, and that burdens you, that moves your heart, and you want to do something about it. But very often, and I see this a lot online on social media, people are so bothered, and they don't know what to do with this bothering, that action right away. So repost, reshare, reaction video, comment agad. Diba, yung problema ng mga taong to. And now we're dictated to, our feelings and our emotions, our priorities, our choices are being dictated to by the news cycle and by the powers that have interest in like stirring up controversy. And like in basketball, kada fake talon ka na naman tanon, you jump at everything. I'm not saying don't feel. I'm not saying don't do something about it. But have we cried out about it to God first? And that's what I've, this second verse has been like that for me. Could you be father, Lord? Could you be friend to a helpless survivor? Just last Monday, I had a 11-hour road trip, round trip, 5.5 hours one way, 5.5 hours the other way, to meet with some pastors who, in my other job, were helping them. They're among the rural poor, some of them in the tribes people, some of them in the farms with the farmers who are affected by the NPA. And I was inspired by their work. I was inspired by their heart, but at the same time burdened by what they're going through. The hardships they endure, the hardships their wives endure, the hardships their children are going through. And I could feel in myself a desire to, let's work on this. Where in the past, maybe I would have been on the phone for much of that long drive home. I would have called people, let's organize this, organize that. Pero hindi ko pa napag-iisipan, hindi ko pa nagpe-pray. It's emotionally reactiveness. And so I got in the car and I put on Could You Be Messiah? And I prayed and I sang and I teared up a bit. And I said, Lord, these men are fathers, but you are their father. These men need friends. And then even as I was praying, then ideas began to come up and like, oh, this person can help and that person can help. And now I'm excited. So this doesn't just have to be a song for you, but for other people also. I like this idea where he says, I heard them all sharing this newfound conviction in them. Are you all that they make you to be? Because it kind of makes a lot more sense if you understand evangelical Christianity, Protestantism in the 80s. It was wild. It was pretty wild. It was not as culturally accepted as today. To be born again in the 80s was like, you gotta, you know. And sometimes there were a lot of hurt because some people were overzealous. They went too far and they drove other people crazy. And that's what I can hear in, Tita Freddie's words here. I heard them all sharing this newfound conviction in them. Are you all that they make you to be? Yung, totoo ba yan? Is that legit? Is that for real? Like, how long is this gonna last? Are they just all crazy? Am I the last sane person in the world? Maybe that's you. Maybe that's your song. You've got doubts and you're looking at people in a worship service raising hands and being so emotionally led, and you're like, I do not understand. I don't get it, this whole thing. That's the song for you. The bridge is, now I've been looking for someone like you and I'm so tired. I've read every book and I've sung every song. My mind may be right, but my heart feels so wrong. And I find this interesting because lyrically, there's a shift, right? Because it's like, could you be Messiah for a heart that's been wounded? It's all hypotheticals. Or maybe you might say, for a friend, di ba? I have a friend who, yung alam mo yung tatanong na for a friend, pero sa totoo lang para sa kanila. So far, we've been in hypotheticals. Could you be healer for a heart that's been wounded, an imprisoned feeling in chains? But now it's like, I've been looking for someone like you. I've read every book. I've sung every song. I'm tired. I feel like I'm in the wrong here. And I think this is a good picture for people coming to faith. If you're a follower of Jesus and you're sharing your faith with other people all over the world, there are people testing the hypotheticals. Is this really for real? Can I really tell you what I'm really thinking? What I'm really feeling? And very often, because they receive harshness, judgmentalism, hypocrisy, self-righteousness, I don't want to get there. But if we will listen, if we will love, if we will be like Christ to them, we'll get to this place where they'll say what they really are going through. I'm tired. I think I'm in the wrong. Tell me, how much farther can my life go along? Which ways do the roads lead? Where do I belong? That's their question. They might sound like they're so together on social media. They might sound like they've got it all. Maybe they've even embarrassed you for your faith. Idiot Christians believing in an ancient book, But deep down inside, because God is the source of all good things, because the human life was meant to be lived with Him, you already know that if they don't have God, this is what's going on in their mind. I've watched every video. I've tried everything. I'm still at the end of my rope. In fact, even their anger with you, their violence against you is just a sign of the violence of the turmoil in their own heart. Which way do the roads lead? Where do I belong? That's their question. Can you wait long enough for them to share that part? Or were we triggered already by them? Then he asks his really deep questions. Are you forgiver of my most unknown secrets? Provider of all that I need? Could you be brother, the one that knows better? Would you now stand in the lead? I love that idea. Are you forgiver of my most unknown secrets? That's the question, right? Because we all put up a front. But our darkest thoughts, most selfish thoughts, do you know God already knows that? And He forgives that. Provider of all that I need. Like I said, this was when I was listening to this 20 years ago, very difficult time for me financially, struggling, thinking, Lord, am I going to have an income? I know I have a call to do ministry, but will I have an income? And so sometimes I just can't forget just driving and like belting, shouting that part. I also wondered at this third one, could you be brother, the one who knows better? Would you now stand in the lead? I always wondered about that, honestly. I always wondered, what was Tita Freddie going through when he said that? Because this is the climax, right? So, are you forgiver of my most unknown secrets, provider of all that I need? And then brother, talaga, we already, parang sana father, diba? But father was already verse 2. And I often found that part like, okay, not the strongest. Until recently, 5 years ago, going through major life turmoil, life challenges, and this verse really made sense to me. An older brother, the one who knows better, who stands, yung mauna ka na, ikaw na lang gumawa kasi kanina pa ako nauuna eh. Lagi naman ako nawawala, lagi naman ako nasasaktan sa ginagawa ko. Please, mauna ka na. And I realized that as an eldest son, I didn't have this feeling a lot in my life. I was used to, I need to be the one who knows better. And so when I got to the point where I didn't know what to do anymore, and I'm looking at the issues in my marriage and I don't know, there's no moves. I have 0 moves left. This verse hit differently because He is our older brother who knows better and wants the best for us. And He'll lead. He'll take care of it. You don't even need to, so many of us in our faith can say, I need to see all the end. You don't. How can you possibly? But He does. Siya bahala. When all this is over, all the thunder and lightning, in the daylight, just what will I see? The answers to my questions, to all my questions. Could you be Messiah to me? Could you be Messiah to me? Could you be Messiah? Please be Messiah to me. Such a beautiful song. If that's your question, If any one of these or all of these are your questions, would you heal? Would you teach me? Are you father to me, friend to me, brother, forgiver, provider? Yes. The answer is yes. And that's who Jesus is. And that's why I'm grateful to Tita Freddie, to Gary V for composing these songs and writing and capturing it. And I'm so proud actually of the fact that it's a Filipino product and has already ministered in other parts of the world as well. Go give Could You Be Messiah a listen. If this content helps you, then yeah, let us know. You can leave a like, a comment, subscribe, or share it with people who you think would benefit from it as well. If you want to continue this conversation, then I would love that. I'm enjoying the Telegram group we have and the ongoing discussions we have there. Here's the link on the screen, and it's also in the description. And finally, if you want to support this channel, there's a giving link at the bottom for Buy Me a Coffee. We would really appreciate it.